Today we are comparing the great town of West Hartford, Connecticut to the great town of Simsbury, Connecticut. As a local realtor here in Hartford County, what I've noticed over the years is when people are shopping central Connecticut or West Hartford, a lot of times they're looking at the surrounding towns as well, what we call the Valley, Farmington, Avon, and Simsbury. So I wanted to take a deeper look to take a look at the things Simsbury has to offer and compare them with some of the things West Hartford has to offer. Because what I found is depending on your lifestyle and your family goals, sometimes one town kind of lines up better than the next as you're going through that search. So if I can compress time a little bit for you in this video and give you some insight, then I think that's a win-win. So if you're curious or you're looking for a list of properties in West Hartford and also the surrounding towns, Simsbury, Avon, Farmington, or even others, just drop a comment below. I can send you a sample list just so you can see what's out there right now on the market. It's not a problem. We get calls, texts, emails all the time from people who have questions and who do watch these videos. So with that being said, let's get right into it. So the first thing I wrote down is lifestyle. A little bit subtle lifestyle differences between West Hartford and Simsbury. So West Hartford is traditionally a more active community. There's more shopping, restaurants in the center. There's usually more people out and about because of the way the town's set up, walkability of sidewalks and things towards the center. Where Simsbury is more suburban, right? It's a little quieter, a little slower paced. Certainly some great things to do in Simsbury, just not as many people out and about. It's a little quieter, a little more suburban. So depending what you're looking for, I met with some folks who they want that hustle and bustle and others who want the peace and quiet. And there's certainly value in each. So take that into consideration as you're deciding which town might be best for you. The second thing I wrote down is schools. So both of these, if you look at a lot of the school rating websites, both of these towns have really highly rated school districts in terms of high school, elementary, middle school. Both are, because they're both central Connecticut, both have pretty good proximity to a lot of private schools in the area. If you've watched some of the past videos, there is Renbrook, there's Watkinson, there's Mrs. Porter's, which is Farmington, but still great proximity to both these towns. So you have lots of access. There's Kingswood, Oxford. So there's lots of private school options if that's what you're going for. But there's also great public schools that are highly rated as well if that is more aligned with your family. So either way, you're usually in good hands with school system with both of these towns. Next thing I wrote down is cost of living. So these towns, neither one of them has the lowest tax rated in the area or the state. West Hartford's known for a little bit higher taxes. Simsbury is not quite as high as West Hartford, but certainly higher than a town like Farmington, and some smaller towns. As you go a little bit farther away from central Connecticut, obviously have better tax rates. But part of the reason the tax rate is higher in town to town is the towns with higher tax rates, the theory is they're usually putting more back into the community if it's being done right. So the good schools, the well-kept infrastructure, good proximity to Hartford all goes into the tax rate. Both of these towns are up there. West Hartford's a little bit higher. If we look at median sales price, they're pretty close. West Hartford right now, past 90 days, their median sales price is $560,000. Simsbury past 90 days, they're at $590,000. This can fluctuate a little. They're pretty close, which is another reason why people that are shopping one town tend to look at the other, is because they're comparable, from a price point perspective in real estate. Next thing I wrote down, commute access. Another reason most folks look at these two towns is they're both smack dab right in central Connecticut. You can pretty much get to anywhere in the state within reason. That being said, West Hartford's obviously right directly next to Hartford, closer to highways in general. so you can have that highway access depending on where you're going from there. Where Simsbury's tucked away a little bit. Could take 15, 20 minutes to get to highways or Hartford, depending on what part of town you're living in. But you definitely have to drive a little to get to the highway. So depending on your lifestyle, where your work is, the way your family's set up, this commute I've seen be a big difference for families in terms of which town is right for them. Next thing I wrote down, parks and outdoor space. Both of these towns really check a lot of boxes on these. If you've watched my past videos, West Hartford, there's Westmore Park, there's the Great Elizabeth Park, there's reservoirs, for you to walk and hike, etc. So you get nature in West Hartford for sure, with it being, close to some of the city stuff with restaurants and shopping, which is great and what most people love. Simsbury, again, more suburban. They have some great features too. A lot of the Farmington River butts up against Simsbury, so there's some things to do there. You also have Talcott Mountain or the Hebline Tower hike. This is one of my favorite hikes. It's a little over 3 miles, and you get some nice elevation, good views as you get to the top. Hebline Tower itself is at the top, which is a great landmark, and you can see from different parts of the valley. So it's one of those hikes that you can make an afternoon out of without taking it, having it take up too much of your day, and really get some spectacular views and get outside. So that's in Simsbury, and people come from all over, to do that. So both of these towns, you definitely get a little more suburban with Simsbury, but both of these towns have some good outdoor options. And then the last thing I wrote down is, market trends in terms of the real estate is, are there major differences here? It's always something people want to look at as they're comparing, and they're pretty close. So both towns right now, the average days on market is 4 days. Both towns are comparable in terms of the speed of the market. They're both pretty popular. There are less total choices in Simsbury. For example, there's only 21 active homes for sale in Simsbury right now. And in the past month, 32 have sold. So not quite as many choices, and more buyers than sellers still in that market. And West Hartford, 40 active, so a little bit more choice-wise, but 55 closed in the past month. So in both these markets, we have more buyers than sellers. They're very active, very popular places to live. So it's pretty comparable in that respect. I would say the main difference in the real estate that you're looking, and I've said it in past West Hartford videos, West Hartford has a lot of older homes. Simsbury, you will find some newer options, 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s. There's more of that construction in Simsbury versus West Hartford has a lot of older homes, early 20s, 30s, Tudors, Colonials, a lot of 50s, 60s neighborhoods, and some of that newer 90s, 2000s stuff in West Hartford, but not as much as Simsbury. So in terms of what to expect, that's definitely should be on your radar. And then lot sizes are generally bigger in Simsbury. There's more land out there. You'll find more acre lots, 2 acre lots, where West Hartford's more, quarter acre, half acre. And if you find an acre, those are like the outlier neighborhoods, not as many as those. So that's what to expect in terms of differences in community. So if you have any questions, you want to dive in deeper to any of these towns in the Valley, Simsbury, West Hartford, don't be shy. Like I said, we get calls and emails, texts all the time. My team and I, we are always happy to reach out and share what we know. And if the video is helpful, click subscribe. That's one of the ways that I know if I should make more videos like this or go in a different direction. I am committed to getting 2 new videos out every week. Hope you have a great day.